Hello fellow gateballers and welcome to another video in our series. Today's video is a little bit of a doozy when it comes to its length. Today's video is on Article 11, which is labelled Movement of the Ball. And that goes through Clause 1, which is valid moves, and Clause 2, which is invalid moves, or which are invalid moves. Well, is actually would probably be more correct. Apologies there. Before we start, as always, we would like to thank 8ball Australia for proudly endorsing this program. And today especially, the World Gateball Union for their for the use of their figures in the Q&A book today especially. So we're going to be moving right along, and we'll actually come back to this image. As you can see, it's a little bit of a spoiler, but we'll come back to the title page and we'll just define what a valid move is. And the rules say that aside from invalid moves, all movements of balls are as a result of a proper play by a stroker, shall be valid. So any other than the invalid moves, which we will discuss in just a moment, all movements of the ball as a result of a proper play, which we discussed in our last video, by a stroker, which we discussed in the video before that one, shall be valid. Rightio. So we'll be moving on to Clause 2 now, which is invalid moves. And this is what's going to take up the majority of our video today. Right, invalid moves. Dot point 1. The following moves shall be regarded as invalid moves, and balls moved shall be returned to their positions before the move. Now that's the remedy, that the ball shall be returned to the positions they were before the invalid move to any of the following. Now there's a little bit of a list here, and it says the movement of a ball following a foul play. So should a foul play occur, the balls are moved back. Any movement after that foul, So the stroker has committed a foul play. A foul has been dispensed to them. And anything that occurs after that foul, whether it be by accident or on purpose, is considered an invalid move and the balls are returned. Number 2, the movement of a ball following an ineffective play. And we discussed ineffective plays in Clause 2 of Article 10, which was the last video. And I'll quickly remind you of those. And they are plays made by the stroker during referee time and actions of a person other than by the stroker. So any movement of a ball following an ineffective play is considered an invalid move. Number 3, the movement of the other balls, remembering what other balls are, they are all the balls except for the stroker's ball. The movement of other balls made by the ball which has not yet passed through the first gate. And that's where we're going to come to our first figure. So as we can see here, ball X is in the start area and is performing the start stroke, and it has clanged on the right hand leg of gate 1. Now ball Z here was originally in contact with gate 1, and as a result of ball X's impact onto the right side of the gate, or the right leg of the gate, ball Z has moved about what would probably be in all reality a foot to the left. Now, according to Clause 2, Rule dot point 1, Part 3, it says the movement of other balls, in this case the stroker's ball is ball X and the other ball is ball Z, made by the ball which has not yet passed through the first gate. So as you can see here, ball X has not passed through the first gate yet. Therefore, the movement of ball Z is considered invalid, and we can see the remedy here by this arrow that ball X's gate would stand and it would score the first gate and a point, but the movement of ball Z would be considered an invalid move. Going on to dot point 4, and it says the movement of a ball in contact with a gate or the goal pole as a result of stroking an outball. Now, I think I've got a visual of that there. You'll have to bear with me with the visuals. I'm just having a little bit of trouble with them, but we'll see how we go. So we can see that ball X here, again, the stroker's ball, ball X, is an outball. It's outside the inner field, and it is stroked into the court, and it strikes gate 2 on the right side where we're facing the front side of the gate. And it clangs off the gate and lands right in front of the gate. But unfortunately, ball A was also in contact with gate 2 on the left side. And you can see that ball A moved as a result of the play of ball X. So ball A has moved and it's even struck another ball, which is ball B. So all of the movement of ball A and ball B are considered invalid moves, and we can see that the remedy is to just place them back where they were before the invalid move, and the play of ball X stands. Dot point number 5 says the movement of an out ball. Sorry, have I done something wrong here? I said the movement of a ball in contact with the gate or goal pole as a result of stroking an out ball. Yep, that one we've done. Sorry. Number 5, apologies for that. Number 5 is the movement of an out ball that does not end up within the inner field. Now, I haven't got a visual for that one, because the Q&A book doesn't have one and I couldn't find one. But it basically means that any movement of an out ball, so say ball X here, any movement of that out ball that does not end up within the inner field is considered an invalid move. So should X not come onto the field, any movement it makes is considered an invalid move. But in the case of it not coming on the field anyway, it will still be an out ball. Moving on to dot point number 6, and it says moving a ball that has finished and other balls moved as a result of this move. That one's described here. Now, I'm not going to read these little blurbs because I'm just going to use this little image a little bit easier for the purposes of my explanation. So we can see ball X here, and it says that ball X is a ball that has successfully passed through the third gate. So ball X strikes the goal pole and successfully finishes the game. We can also see ball Z here, which is another ball, was also in contact with the goal pole, and we can see that ball Z is also has also passed through the third gate. But the result, the impact with the goal pole that ball X had, the stroker's ball, resulted in ball Z moving away from the goal pole because it was in contact with it. Now, that's considered an invalid move because, as it said, it comes under just halfway through it, and it says moved as a result of this move in relation to a ball that has finished, or any other ball that we're talking about there. So that would just be placed back, and ball X would be considered agari, or having finished the game. Moving on to number 7. The movement of a ball as a result of the stroker's body coming into contact with the gate or the goal pole. Now, again, I don't have a picture of this one, but basically, should a ball be sitting in contact with a gate or the goal pole, and should you accidentally nudge the gate or the goal pole, and that ball were to move, that would be considered an invalid move. Moving right along, number 8. Says the movement of a ball as a result of a sparked other ball hitting another ball that was temporarily moved by the stroker. Now, what does this mean? Well, should you make a stroke and make multiple touches, successful touches in that stroke? So you're playing ball X. And ball X successfully touches ball Z and ball Y. So you've effectively got 2 balls. And if ball X and ball Z were this close together, we're going to forget about the goal pole here, but ball X and ball Z were this close together, and you wished to spark ball Y first, ball Z might be in your way. So you're permitted to temporarily move that ball so that it's not in your immediate way of performing your actions on sparking. So this rule says the movement of a ball as a result of a sparked other ball hitting another ball that was temporarily moved by the stroker. So should ball Y, while you're sparking it, strike ball Z, the movement of ball Z is considered an ineffective, an invalid move. Sorry, it is considered an invalid move, and that's what that dot point is relating to. And we move on to dot point 9, and it says, the following movement of a stroker's ball or other ball during a stroker's action on sparking while the play is recognized as proper play. So this one's subdivided again into 7 other dot points, and it says, when the stroker's ball stops in contact with another touched ball and the stroker's ball moves as a result of the stroker picking up the touched ball as part of the stroker's actions on sparking. I'll just see if I've got a visual of this. Yes, I do. So we can see the stroker's ball X here. Stroker's ball X strikes ball A, and we're just going to have to ignore ball B here because I just want to focus on just this little bit here. And that is that ball X strikes ball A, and the stroker makes a successful touch. And we're going to just pretend that these two balls are next to each other like this. So ball X has stopped in contact with ball A. We're just going to ignore the outside bit because there is no visual in the Q&A book to describe this exact situation. In picking up your stroker's ball, as we can see, when the stroker's ball stops in contact with another touched ball and the stroker's ball moves as a result of the stroker picking up the touched ball. So our ball has stopped in contact with ball A. If we were to move ball A and our stroker's ball was to move, that is considered an invalid move, and the ball would be moved back to its original position. Dot point 2. When a touched ball comes into contact with yet another ball and stops, and that other ball moves as a result of the stroker picking up the touched ball as part of the stroker's action on sparking. And that's what this full image describes. And that is, in essence, the stroker's ball, ball X, strikes ball A, creates a successful touch or makes a successful touch, and then ball A is in contact with another ball, which is ball B. And in picking up, as we can see here, in picking up ball A, which are part of the actions on sparking, because we need to spark ball A because that's the one we've made a touch on, ball B moves. That is not a foul, it is an invalid move. And we can see that the remedy is to put ball B back to where it was before it moved as a result of us touching ball A. Righty on, continuing along. When the stroker's ball stops in contact with several touched balls and the stroker's ball or one of the touched balls are moved as a result of the stroker picking up another touched ball in order to temporarily move that ball. So back to when we were temporarily moving balls. Should, while temporarily moving balls, there are multiple balls in contact before you are temporarily moving them, should you accidentally move, and I just need to clarify here because even this is a little bit confusing for someone like me who reads it constantly. When the stroker's ball stops in contact with several touched balls, so our stroker's ball is stopped in contact with several balls, and the stroker's ball or one of the touch balls, so any ball in essence, are moved as a result of the stroker picking up another touch ball. So in order to move, obviously, if our ball is in contact with 3 other balls, so ball X is in contact with ball A and ball B, so there's a cluster of 3 balls there. If, while temporarily moving ball A to spark ball B, and in lifting or temporarily moving ball A, our ball moves, or ball B moves, that is considered an invalid move, and we were to place the balls back to where they were before the invalid move began. And I know that one's a little bit of a complicated one, and in essence, all 3 of those things should be self-explanatory, and they just progressively move down. And as you can tell, even I often get confused when it comes to something like that. When we're refereeing, often what is correct is natural and comes out correctly. But when we're describing them and discussing them as they are written in the rulebook, often they can become more complex than they need to be. And that's why we go through them in this series. But we must press on, and we're up to number 4. And it says, when during an action on sparking, which we will discuss the actions on sparking in a future video, which are incredibly important, the stroker drops a touched other ball that he or she picked up, and that ball touches a gate or goal pole, as a result of which the stroker's ball or another ball, which is in contact with the gate or goal pole, is indirectly moved. Right, what does that mean? Well, I want you to ignore this stick here, but I want you to pretend, right? I want you to pretend that a stroker is standing here and he accidentally drops his ball onto this gate. And by dropping his ball, sorry, not his ball, he has, I'll start again, sorry. So the stroker has made a successful touch. He's picked up the other ball that he has touched, not his stroker's ball, the other ball which he has touched. And he accidentally drops that other ball onto this gate. And we can see a ball here is in contact with the gate. And as a result of the stroker dropping the other ball onto the gate, this ball has indirectly moved. That constitutes an invalid move. That's all that means. That dropping the other ball during the actions on sparking onto a gate or the goal pole, and a ball which is in contact with the gate or the goal pole moves, is an invalid move. And as we can see, it's rectified by putting the ball back. No foul there. Rightio, pressing on. When the stroker's ball and a touched other ball stop in contact with the gate or the goal pole, and during an action on sparking, the stroker picks up the touched other ball to indirectly move his or her ball. Right, we're going to break that one down. So when the stroker's ball and a touched other ball stop in contact with the gate or the goal pole. So pretend this is the touched other ball. It has stopped in contact with this gate, ignoring the click and the movement of this one. So the touched other ball has stopped in contact with this gate. And our stroker's ball, which is in these figures ball X, also stops in contact with the gate, right? During an action on sparking, the stroker picks up the touched other ball, so picking up this ball here, to indirectly move his ball. So by picking up this touched other ball, it moves the gate and causes our stroker's ball to indirectly move. That is an invalid move. And we just put our stroker's ball back where it belongs before the invalid move occurred. And then we may pick up this ball and perform our actions on sparking as usual. Radio. Moving on to number 6. When a touched other ball stops in contact with the gate or the goal pole, with another ball also in contact, and the stroker picks up that touched ball during an action on sparking, resulting in the other ball in contact with the gate or goal pole to be indirectly moved. Right, that one is incredibly similar to the last one that we did, only that the ball here is not the stroker's ball. It is another ball. So these two balls here are both other balls. And in picking up this ball, so say we created a touch, and the other ball we touched, or the ball that we made a successful touch on, landed here, and the other ball is also in contact with the gate here. In picking up this ball to spark it, or to complete our actions on sparking, this ball moves, the other ball in contact with the gate moves. That constitutes an invalid move, and therefore we just move it back to where it was before we picked up this ball, which indirectly moved it. Radio. And the very last one, number 7, if when resetting the balls, the stroker's ball is moved as a result of the stroker picking up the set other ball while his or her's ball is not stepping on his or her. Oh dear, is there a spelling mistake here, or am I just reading it wrong? Please excuse me. I will actually go. I do have a visual for this one, which describes it, but I'm just going to reread it just to make sure. When a touched other ball stops in contact with a gate or goal pole, and with which another ball is also... Oh no, I'm reading the wrong thing. Oh my god, I'm losing my head. I apologize, everyone. Number 7. If when resetting the balls, the stroker's ball is moved as a result of the stroker picking up the set other ball while he or she is not stepping on that ball. We got there in the end. Thank you for sticking with us, everyone. So that one basically means that. So remember, X is the stroker's ball, and we can see that ball Z, which is the other ball, has been set under the stroker's foot. Now we can see that the strokers lifted their foot off the balls. So both balls are in contact, and technically they are not set because the foot is not on the balls. And then in picking up ball Z, ball X moves. That movement of ball X is considered an invalid move, and therefore we just have to put ball X back where it was, which is in contact with ball Z, before we can pick up ball Z to then step on ball X, put ball Z under our foot, thereby setting it, and then conducting the spark. Rightio. We're nearly there. And now we can see point 10. And point 10 says, other than 1 through 9 above, which are all the things that we've discussed up until this point, the following moves that the referee designates as an invalid move. Number 1, when a ball has gone to the outer field, the ball hits another ball which has already been placed in an out as an out ball, causes that ball to move. This ball to move. Sorry. What does that mean? So, if your ball is an out ball and you stroke it, and you stroke it and it does not enter the inner field, so it has gone to the outer field. So when a ball has gone to the outer field, so actually no, I correct myself. This ball could be on the inner field. So it just says when a ball has gone to the outer field, so it has exited the inner field in other words, the ball hits another ball, which is already an out ball. So the minute a ball, any ball, that is on the inner field, or for that fact, technically on the outer field, but I guess in this situation, they're probably more talking about the inner field, strikes an out ball, which is a ball that's been measured in 10 centimeters from the inner field, and causes this ball to move. So that, I'm sure everyone knows this rule, but again, the rules make it a lot more complicated than what common sense often tells us. So ball X is an out ball. Okay, ball X is an out ball, and ball Z, which is on the inner field, strikes ball X. So ball Z has exited the inner field and strikes ball X. The movement of ball X is an invalid move, and we just put ball X back where it was outside the field, and ball Z also outside the field where it exited the inside field. That's basically all that is. I made it sound a lot more complicated than what it had to be, but anyway, moving right along. Number 2 says, when a ball is moved indirectly by hitting soil or grass with the stick. And I've got an image for that one here. So we can see player 5 here is stroking their ball, but unfortunately, they don't make actual contact with the ball. And it's actually, we can see here, soil and grass, which has moved the ball. That is an invalid move and would not constitute a regular stroke. Number 3. When a ball in contact with the gate or the goal pole is moved indirectly as a result of the stick coming into contact with the gate or the goal pole. Remember this image here? I've just added the rest of it into it. So should a ball be in contact with a gate or the goal pole, and you drop your stick onto that gate or goal pole, and it indirectly moves the ball, that is an invalid move. When the uniform number or any part of the stroker's belongings, including gloves, a cap, hat, glasses, and the captain's identification touches the ball, that is an invalid move. Number 5, the very last one, when a stationary ball moves as a result of weather conditions. Now remember, it is stationary, so should the ball be moving and the wind pushes it, that does not come under this rule. Or as a result of the way the gate, the goal pole, the inside line, or the lines forming the start area have been set. All those would be considered invalid moves. Or if they are influenced, should they influence a ball that is stationary, would be constituted, the movement of that ball would be an invalid move. And dot point number 2 says, when a ball or balls move or moves as a result of an invalid move, that ball or balls should be returned to its position before the move, except for the balls making the valid move. So exactly what we were saying, and I guess we can actually go back to the very first image we saw, which will be right here. So in this case, when we're talking about it, the movement of Z was considered an invalid move, but the movement of X was a valid move. So that is just telling us that the balls that made an invalid move are returned to where they are, and the balls that made a valid move are left where they are at the end of the stroke. If in making an invalid move, if a ball making an invalid move touches a ball making a valid move, then the ball making the valid move shall remain in its position at which it stopped following that move. And what does that mean? Well, we'll break it down. It says, if a ball making an invalid move, so a ball making an invalid move, so ball Z in this instance, touches a ball making a valid move. So say by some freak accident, I don't know how on earth this could happen, but we're just doing an example. Ball X strikes the gate here, ball Z moves, but ball X hits ball Z. That's a ball making an invalid move, touching a ball making a valid move. Then the ball making the valid move shall remain at the position in which it stopped following that move. So it basically means that the Z would be moved back, but there is no rectification for the fact that X hit Z. So we would just leave X wherever it stopped. Thank you very much, everyone, for your patience today. As you can tell, Article 11, movement of the ball, is an incredibly important article. And knowing what is an invalid move and what is a valid move is incredibly imperative to understanding the game rules. As all the things I've just described are not fouls, often cases people mistake some of these things happening as fouls when they are not fouls. And it's really important, as often fouls result in the stroker's ball becoming an out ball. And in all these cases, the stroker's ball does not become an out ball. When I say in all these cases, unless the ball was physically stroked out by the stroker. But all of those things, such as, let's take one, for example, dropping the stick onto a gate, only the gate, mind you. So you've dropped your stick only onto the gate and a ball has moved which was in contact with it. Most people would just say that's a foul, but it's not. It's an invalid move, and it's important to be able to distinguish between all of those things. And as you can tell, it's obviously a little bit complicated, hence why sometimes even myself, as someone who reads these, what is almost daily, finds it a little bit difficult to explain. So we really thank you for sticking with us through this really long video today, and we hope to see you on a court sometime soon, and let's play ball.